Sometimes I wonder if the world is really balanced as everything should be. I say this because I feel like I've messed up pretty bad and I'm just kind of hoping the universe has my back at this point. And I know success isn't linear. You might start off as a minor league baseball player, botch a train robbery, and then serve as a diplomat in another country. That's what Frank Grigware, also known as the 5-decade fugitive, thought was the best path, and that's who we're talking about today. Obviously, idiot. So Frank was born in 1886 in Michigan. However, he spent most of his early life in Washington, the state. He was kind of a jack of all trades. He was a carpenter, played minor league baseball, and the dude also robbed trains. Unfortunately, he kind of sucked at it, so early on in his career, it was not as cool as it sounds. Anyway, the idea was hatched when Frank met some sketch figures from Washington. They called themselves the James Boys of Spokane. This is some peak white boy shit. I mean, we can't get away with swag like this no more. I think we used all of it up, honestly. But mind you, it's 1909 and the Wild West is well on its way out. So if these guys are real bandits, then by the same logic, the Goo Goo Dolls are classic rock. Anyways, I digress. On the night of May 22nd, 1909, the James Boys of Spokane get in position in southern Omaha, Nebraska. They board the Union Pacific Overland Limited train. Holy smokes, bro. Longest name for a train of all time. At around 11 p.m., they board the train and force the conductor to bring it to a screeching halt. While a few guys hold the operators at gunpoint, the rest of the boys search the train for any merch. Unfortunately, they just find a bunch of mail clerks with loads of postal bags. Now, I think you as the viewer deserve to know that this was named in the papers as the Great Omaha Train Robbery, since these guys made off with an absolute fortune. $700 worth of mail. I can't wait to use this money to take me and my touch to the big city of Gary, Indiana. Sorry, that wasn't that funny, but this is the part that confuses me the most. They let everyone get back on the train and then sent them straight to Omaha, where they immediately notified the police. So yeah, as they're riding off into the sunset, or sunrise I guess at this point, the Pinkertons were already on this case. And if you don't know who the Pinkertons are, they are a legendary group of private investigators during the 18 and 1900s. However, it doesn't matter who is on the case because a bunch of kids end up finding their stash of guns and report them to the police.
Are you serious, my brother?
So now the boys are going to prison. And not only are they going to prison, but they're going to the first ever federal prison, Leavenworth Penitentiary, known for its brutal conditions. And not only were they just going there, they also had to actually build the prison as punishment. That's like burying yourself alive as Mr. Beast challenge. Literally. Anyway, about 6 months into his sentence, on some middle school lunch table vibes, Frank meets some guys and they say, "Hey, what do you say we get out of here?" Now guys, this is where things get a little crazy. They notice that there's a train that comes in and out of the prison, yup, a train, to deliver supplies. So Frank and his new friends carve a fake gun out of wood, paint it black with shoe polish, and use it to overpower the prison guards and hijack one of the supply trains. Now, obviously, the train was gated in. However, these boys managed to ram the train through the gate and actually escape. Who would have thought we'd ever make it out of prison, boys? I don't know about you guys, but Frank has kind of earned my respect at this point. But guess what? There's more. So the other 5 inmates that Frank had escaped with were all caught within a week or two. However, Frank was never seen again. In fact, he wasn't Frank at all anymore. Now, I'll tell you what, here's a guy that he botched his first train robbery, but he came out of the gate, and I'm talking the literal gate of Leavenworth prison, and he looked a little homie. And I say this because he low-key clutched up. He crossed the Canadian border and is now going by the name of James Fahey. He ended up settling down in a town called Spirit River, where he became a pillar of the community, building homes for the townspeople and even running a local business with his new wife and kids.
James' children were illegal, and they didn't use a condom, which is so illegal, actually, when you think about it.
Anyway, by 1915, The people of Spirit River say, you know what? This guy's pretty dope. Let's make him the mayor.
Are you serious, my brother?
And like 20 more years go by, and everything was chill until 1934 when he got pinched for poaching, which didn't warrant jail time or anything, really, but he did have to go on record with fingerprints. And unfortunately for him, some rat clerk was like, yo, these look kind of familiar. Mrs. Teacher, did we have homework at reaction, bro? Anyway, this guy's been gone for like 30 years, so when the US gets wind of this, they're like, yo, bring him back. And Canada responds by saying something along the lines of, James is mad chill, but he packs upper deckies and gets mad birds, eh? And then they paid off the US by giving them a lifetime supply of wintergreen zins. No, I'm just kidding. The citizens of his town basically started sort of like a GoFundMe, and they raised $10,000 to pay his bail. And then the US dropped the extradition request, and he was allowed to remain free as long as he never entered the US again. And Frank didn't care. He ended up living a long, successful life, dying at the age of 91, and leaving behind a beautiful display of his carpentry work all over Canada, including a well-known resort, Jasper Park Lodge. This is a great story from history that just shows no matter how much you mess up in life, probably, hopefully not as much as this guy, you can really bounce back and make something yourself. Make sure to tell this story to someone that's sitting on a bench and really indulged in a book that wants nothing to do with you, and by the end of the story, they will most likely slap you across the face. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment your biggest mess up in life and how you bounce back from it. See you guys in the next one.